Laz, you're leaning up against this thing like it's become your baby. It's kind of maybe a baby you didn't really want. So guys, we most definitely did listen to the comments of what was going on with the Escalade. It definitely did sound like junk, and there's a reason for that, and we will get to that very shortly and show you one of the common problems of what is wrong with that. However, here are some of the other things of what we found wrong with the Escalade.
Well, notably, you got in it and said this thing sounds a lot louder than it did before.
Yeah, it definitely did. I tried to fire it up here, and I had one side of the coil, or I had one side of the injectors not firing, and somehow or another we ended up having a backfire. I think when I plugged it back in,
a bunch of raw fuel in the exhaust from an open injector.
Yep, and when we had that backfire, something that could have been a small problem before turned into a much bigger problem, and that, let's show us what we got going on there.
So it actually split, not just on the primary, but on the collector. Split on the header. I didn't pull it off and do like a pretty weld. I just tried to get in there what I could. But we sealed that up, and there's actually another spot over here, which I really don't think you're gonna be able to get on camera.
Yeah.
That it broke both sides.
But it does seem like you got a pretty difficult
around
spot
here while it's running, no air coming out.
Okay. That's a difficult spot to get to on that one right there.
That was here. So we go back here, check the system, everything seems airtight. And then I get to this.
Oh, we got a little break in there somewhere. You can definitely see the carbon. Yeah.
So it actually split that there. And then we got the spot welds where the muffler is assembled.
So
one of those apart.
So basically, to cover this right here, there's not much that we can do about this unless we replace that piece altogether. Now, quite honestly, when we fired it up though, right now, I don't even notice this, but the collector, oh my gosh, dude, the collector was incredibly loud for sure. And you were saying...
That's probably because it's right there on one primary, so you're hearing every fire.
Gotcha. Now this one, you're saying that you didn't see anything
really
come out.
Feel any hot air coming out, you know, any air pressure.
Obviously we can see that there's carbon coming out of there. That could be the fact that it's also draining, and
because you got the factory drain hole back here that does the same thing.
Yeah. But that is most certainly a low point, and that's actually lower than the factory drain hole.
Now, if you remember on the C6 Z06s, they would have issues with the mufflers coming apart on the inside.
Yeah.
It would be time for a new catback on this thing.
That is possible. We might have to throw it on the dyno at some point to verify that. Hopefully it's not constipated. That would really, really suck. Boy, oh boy, that thing was absolutely, like, concerningly nasty bad. My wife was like, hey, we need to do something about this. It's gotten worse after just sitting here. Once we put it back together, we're like, all right, well, let's do it. We'll find out what's going on. And turns out the problem, old Georgie,
isolator.
You got him with you?
Sure do.
Oh, pulled him right out of your pocket.
In my pocket.
Yeah.
These are just a couple types that we use, but this is one I think you guys actually had made a long time ago, right?
Could be. Could be.
What was that material called?
Peak.
Peak. Because it was peak performance. But
I don't know about that.
All right, well, you gotta try.
All right, and so Laz, I mean, you didn't have to completely pull the blower off, so you didn't have to go through all that drama again.
I started pulled the intake, got ready. I actually took out the front blower lid bolts, and then realized that the adapters were raising the blower up high enough they could just take the snout off without having to pull the blower, which was a godsend.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'd pull the belt off and rock that back and forth, kind of like we normally feel them. It was an old habit from the LSAs to see if it had a spring isolator in it, or if it had been upgraded and had a solid replacement one. And it had that little bit of play in it.
Gotcha.
So you could feel it free turn until you hit the rotor contact, and then you'd feel the friction from the rotors.
So there's nothing wrong with the rotors on the blower. It was basically at the mating point of where these three fingers kind of matched together on that isolator. And we pulled that isolator out. It was kind of had oval. You know, they weren't, you know, the perfect circles that they were supposed to be. Unfortunately, that one hit the trash can, just like all the OEM ones hit the trash can. So let's look at an LSA blower to give you guys an idea of what is super commonly wrong with them. Plus, if you guys are out to look for an LSA blower, here's what to look for. All right, so over here we have a ported LSA blower, and this has some stuff. So go ahead and rock on that.
So this one's nice and tight because we already got a good isolator in there, but you can still even. No, she's good now.
Yeah, that's a good sounding one. You only have give it a listen. Pretty much just bearing noise and just the rotors going through a very, very nice and clean sound. Now, Laz, show us on that snout there how that all kind of works together there.
Like you said, those holes got ovaled out. These holes line up with the 3 pins on this side, which line up. This is the hub off the front of the rotor pack. Those line up in the opposite 3 holes, and you get that solid connection there.
Yep.
The factory Cadillac ones and Camaros that have the spring isolator in them, you'd get a lot of movement there, and it'd cause rattling in the superchargers, and there was a ton that got warrantied out because of that.
Yeah, in essence, that's very similar to kind of how some of the European or later model cars have their drive shaft coupler, except that one's, you know, they got a rubber insert, but it's different in the same fact that, like, we want zero play whatsoever. That needs to be locked in and solid. And over time, it seems like just the rocking back and forth, it seems like it gets to be a little bit of space in there, and it gets loud and nasty. People think there's something wrong with the blower.
Now, on the Camaro LT4, it actually does have 2 rubber sections in there with a solid steel hub in the center.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Double isolator.
Double isolator.
And the rubber, so they take the beating, and then you can still have a little bit of play, so you know.
Haven't seen any noise from any of those yet.
Gotcha.
We'll see 10 years down the road from now what happens. But
now, okay, so if somebody's looking for an LSA blower, which seems to be one of the most common swaps going on right now, and the reason GM took them off and was replacing them is really just because the isolator. Not that there's anything wrong with the blower whatsoever. So the problem herein lies that the factory one has a spring in it, and then as it's going, it kind of wears on the shaft too. A lot of times that spring, and we see that the shaft has a whole bunch of
this one's worn bad at all.
Not that bad. Sometimes those can be almost like a 1/4 inch thick or deep, you know, or yeah. But this is a modified snout that we have that's all welded up so that we can take a lot of material out. And George does all the porting on that, and that thing is really taking out a lot. And that is also gone. This one right here is a 102. This one is a 90. And pretty significant difference in the throttle opening right there. However, if you guys get an LSA blower, there's nothing quite like the torque of what that makes. I mean, it makes instant boost on the bottom end. It really is desirable for a heavier car, say like a truck swap, or something like the later model blowers, the LT4 blower. And those are a little bit harder to find, but people are putting Pro Chargers on, and you know, people are selling those off. However,
you can't say just truck, you gotta say porcopotamus.
Yes, the porcopotamus, or if you have you know, some other heavier vehicle that you really want to get out of its own way really fast.
With that bottom end torque, we've done a few airboats with these that have replaced the old big cubic inch big blocks.
Absolutely. In fact, I gotta go tune one here in a few minutes.
You gotta tune 2 of them.
2 of them actually, yeah. Pretty nasty. So that is an LSA blower, very desirable for any LS motor. They have all sorts of different adapters, and that is the problem right there. That is the isolator. That one is an aftermarket one, but if you happen to get one and it's really nasty loud, chances are that is the problem. So also another aftermarket one as well right there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but fun fact, when the isolators would go back, the warranty was just to swap the whole blower, right?
Correct. That's why there's so many are out on the market.
We're ending up with awesome blowers for cheap. Like the techs would get them for free half the time.
Yeah. So a little bit more on the porcopotamus right here.
You know, it's Christmas time, Jeremy.
I've
heard your wife mention more than one time about this intake. You put in videos before about we were going to do something with it.
All right, she's going to do good for Christmas, okay? She's also good with just some new duct tape, all right? Okay. It's not that I don't love her or anything like that.
That's the highest quality duct tape, too.
It is. Is it Gorilla Tape?
Unrippable?
It might not be the T-Rex.
We could always give her T-Rex for Christmas. I mean, unbreakable.
Okay.
It's like your Bond.
All right, so our expansion tank. We had a template made of cardboard.
Who's this we?
Someone denying responsibility here. So we came up with a cardboard template. Turns out when we made it, it was just a little bit big. Tried to put it together in the driveway and wasn't happening. So we got to make a little bit more clearance, and if it fits, it ships. If it doesn't, we can't modify it at the moment anymore. While it is a very nice tank, it's about what, half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch too high. Yeah. So we have to take out the tray. Now the tray down there is what Laz is removing, so that hopefully we can have enough clearance that we can be able to close the hood without hitting the tank. Making it happen once again there, George. So despite our measurement issue, we managed to take out some stuff. So what did you have to do to make that fit?
Well, we had to take out our extra battery tray here.
Yeah.
6 bolts. And then
And then the creativity began.
No, yeah, just the PCM. I just like unmounted it and kind of scooched it over a little bit. Gave her a little nudge.
Gotcha. So it's still in the bracket. Let's zip tie it to something.
Yep. That's how we do it.
Zip tie to something, duct tape to another thing. Yeah.
That, like, the hose hitting here, we'll have to put something there, obviously. But
hey, we got a bunch of that gold tape.
oh yeah.
We got a bunch. I know she didn't want the gold
not like
tape.
it at
all. Not a fan. However, this is a good spot for some of that gold-ish tape. Maybe some Mylar or something in between there. We don't want that preheating our tank.
So I just got to figure out where we can put this guy, and then I can use this same hose we have here. It's already got a nice 90 on it.
So just like a turbo or a supercharger, that's what this impeller is shaped like. The center is the feed, and that is the out. We're going to be able to put that in, and it is in a precarious position because we get all of this fluid right above our PCM, of which is not fastened. We got to walk the line. All right, never mind the super nasty airboat idling in the background right there, which we're finishing up tuning up. But that darn tank, boy, whew, looking good.
It's we made it fit, you know, so, but she's in there good. We had to move our PCM a little bit, but we got it tied up. We got zip ties in there. Got the pump down there nice and, you know, nice and low. And let me tell you, this baby pumps. We got our Kishimoto liquid chill in there.
Oh yeah, we got some of that for the S10. However, being as we are getting ready to go to possibly some sub-freezing temperatures, this thing's good all the way up to -26. So
and we even mixed it a little bit differently. We got you down there probably about 60% at -54 degrees Fahrenheit. So bring this thing to Alaska. Let's see if it's pumping.
George, you are feeling it. You are in a mood.
It's pumping?
Oh yeah. Dude, that is a very nice improvement on what we had.
That stuff is blue too, like BMW coolant or something.
I like it. So we got our new isolator. We've got our coolant tank. We can throw some ice in that. Oh, one other thing, George. We need to be able to have a drain. Let's put our 3/8 inch things on our drain and zip tie that up. And dude, we are done. This thing is ready for some cold weather and some competition.
Dragging some tail.
I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Man, I'm so glad that we got the Porcupotamus, dodged that bullet. Thank God we didn't have a major problem with that thing. So here we are. I'm actually up right in North Georgia, right at the Georgia-North Carolina border. We've got our Porcupotamus here and just checking out everything on how she's been running. Everything is going really, really good so far with this thing, and I'm really enjoying it in this nice cooler weather. Got our new tank up on there, got our new isolator in there. Everything sounds good and is behaving very well. So guys, this is my wife's daily driver, and this is a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, it is, it's pretty darn close to basically dailying, I'd say, an acceleration roughly like a near stock GTR. So guys, I wanted to share with you some of the software, what I use. HP Tuners is what I use day in and day out. Now, HP Tuners also has an app for your phone. It's called Track Addict, and it has a bunch of different things of what you can do with it. We're gonna take it down the road and see how it works here. Now, it is a little bit rural where we're at here, so again, we may or may not, since it's very dependent on GPS, might have some issues with it, but I've used it before and had it work flawlessly. Messed around with it here on the track right here. Track that you guys have probably seen many different times, a number of different videos of what we used before. So we're checking this in tandem with what we're seeing with the HP Tuner software, and we're gonna check out some accelerations. I mean, the truck seems to be running pretty good. I just got on it for a moment, and it has a little bit of a funny sound. It's kind of almost like, I don't know if I have an exhaust leak somewhere or something, but it's definitely like a shh, almost like the exhaust is kind of constipated and trying to find another path out. Might have to put it on the dyno and figure that out once we get back home. Check it out. It's got a little noise kind of on the back there. Definitely feels good though. It really is digging this colder weather. We're about 20-25 degrees cooler than what it would be back in Florida right now. So having a little vacation, and really the Porcupotamus is just gobbling up this cold air. So guys, I just did a very brief acceleration from 60 to 120, and I got some data here for you. Unfortunately, I am in a pretty rural area, and it says an upgraded GPS may improve your accuracy, and quit data logging at about 88 miles an hour. Unfortunately, I still have my backup of HP Tuners, so I got my information right there, and I grabbed some frames, and I went from the moment I hit 60 miles an hour to the moment I hit 120 miles an hour. and I got 7.65 seconds. I'm gonna find something that is pretty similar to that to compare, but that is pretty decent. I feel that the car should probably trap somewhere in the neighborhood of about 125 just by my butt dyno. Hopefully that sometime we'll try and get it to the track here, but right now in this elevation of where we are at, which is right at the Georgia-North Carolina border, it's making about maybe a pound less boost of what it would do at sea level, even though our DA is pretty favorable right now. I'm looking up at a couple of different comparative things on accelerationtimes.com, and I looked up a C7 Grand Sport, which is, this should be about 3 seconds faster, 60 to 120, than a C7 Grand Sport. However, it is about 0.6 of a second slower than a C7 Z06. So I also looked up a R35 GTR 2009 on accelerationtimes.com, and it looks like we're about 0.2 of a second slower than that. I think if we do some cleaning up of a few things, we can definitely be faster than that. But that's about how fast the Porcopotamus is. It's definitely fast enough to run with a new stock GTR. So this is our HP Tuners data log right here, and this is the point right here where we hit our 60-mile-an-hour start, and then all the way right there is where we hit about 120 right there. That being said, our fuel map is a little bit off given the elevation and just a few other little odds and ends. Also, we could throw some E85 in here, and this thing should be able to make a bit more power and accelerate even faster yet. So guys, once again, I am so happy that this thing did not blow up and we don't have to put another motor in this. That would have really sucked. You guys ever see this thing running around and it's got a melted bumper and maybe a little bit more cam lope? It's a little faster than the average Escalade. Hope you guys enjoy it. It's a hell of a lot of fun. One more thing I wanted to mention was thank you guys so much for your continued support. Please check out our store in the link in the description below. Definitely helps support us so that we can bring you stupid stuff like this thing. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video and you learned some stuff from our mistakes as well as from 19 years of tuning experience. Guys, so long. Thanks for watching. God bless you. See you next episode. Oh, also check out our Instagram at Fasterproms. See you guys.